Hey guys, so this is my Genogram presentation. I chose my Brewer family because they're so crazy. Like there are so many different relationships and different things going on in that family that I just found so much information. It's my dad's side of the family. And so basically what a genogram is it's a family tree that shows all of the different family relationships and family dynamics. Um, oh, hello. Okay. So this is like the big overview of my genogram, but I'm just going to take it family by family so that way you can see the different people and the different things and I can describe it all. But these are kind of you can see all of like the different relationships. So we've got like mental illness, we've got drug abuse and mental illness, we got recovery, we've got positive relationships, hostile relationships, and focused on relationships. And so I'll go through all of that, which is awesome. So this is the key. And I will, as I'm going through it, I'll tell you what it is. But we've got the female, the male, stillbirth, pregnant, miscarriage, marriage, cohabitation, divorce, fused relationships, very close relationship, positive relationships, focused on hostile directed, hostile relationship cut off, abusive relationship, tobacco use, distant relationship, and then mental health issues and drug abuse recovery, and then death. Obviously, that one's an easy one. Okay, so starting with my great grandparents, Brewer on my Brewer side, so my grandpa's parents. I don't have any pictures of them because I think I met them once. But this is my great grandma. This is my great grandpa. This is my grandpa right here, Jackie Cecil Brewer. This is his older brothers. So Frank had a lot of mental health issues, and then he was super distant, withdrawn from the family, and you can see that in the with the dotted lines that he has drawn to everyone in the family. And then Mooney, nobody knows his first name for some odd reason, nobody can remember it, but he was married to my grandma Viv. They got a divorce and they had a kid, Virginia, who I know. I actually know Virginia. She died last year. She was an awesome lady. But Vivian and Virginia actually had a cutoff relationship about halfway into Virginia's life. You know, they cut each other off and they just couldn't do it because they had too much conflict. And so both of those of them are dead, and then Virginia's dead. So fun. So then we'll go on to my great grandparents, Tracy, who I actually know. I know all of them because they live in Monticello and I see them a lot. So this is like the big family everything. So that's me right there. So it was a really, really long time ago. And then this is my great uncle, Guy, who is awesome. He's an amazing dude. He lives in Monticello. So this is Guy. He's the oldest in the family. And this is my grandma, Carol. She's the middle and the oldest girl. And because she's the oldest girl, she took a lot of responsibility for her younger sisters. So they had a fused relationship between Luann, Kathy, and Carol are all super fused. And you can see that through the three lines, which is amazing. They're great people. This is my Aunt Luann. She's amazing. This is her husband and her kids. But they have a good positive relationship. And then my grandma Ine or Inez has a really positive relationship with my grandpa. So you can see that double blue line going from Ine to Jackie. And then that's the same thing with my Aunt Viv or my grandma Viv also had a really positive, close relationship with my grandma. So it was like this little cross, which was amazing because they were all really close. Um, and then obviously from this one goes to her oldest child because she's really close with her. These are my grandparents. I love them to death. They're the greatest people I know. They're literally I look up to them so much because I love them. And so this is them. This is my grandma Carol and my grandpa Jack. This is my dad and my grandma. This is me and my grandpa playing catch. And then I have like several other pictures. This is me and Britton and my grandpa's arms. They are amazing people. I love them to death. Um, they're really inspiring and just amazing. I really do love them a lot. So then these are my aunts and uncles. This is like the big family with us. The only person that is missing in this, it looks like, is my cousin Sam and my older brother Jens. But this is one of the only times that we've all been together because of how much conflict is inside of my dad's siblings, my aunts and uncles. They have a lot of conflict between them, so we don't get together a lot. This is my aunt Josie and my dad at their doctorate graduation. And then I actually included this just because her husband, my Uncle Rick, he's a painter. So he paints amazing things, and I just wanted to include it. But so this is the Tracy Thomas Bunting family. This family is probably the most isolated family in our family. And so as I talked about a little bit earlier, is that this blue line right here goes from my Aunt Tracy to my grandma because they have a close relationship. They're very close to each other. My Aunt Tracy has substance abuse problems. She's been addicted to opiates for about 30 years. And so she has a lot of mental health issues and abuse drugs, and that's how her oldest daughter is as well. And so my Uncle Mark, I actually never met him, but he was abusive to my Aunt Tracy. And so that's what part of the reason why she started abusing drugs. And then this relationship between Jim and my Aunt Tracy is very hostile. They don't get along very well. But my Uncle Jim has tobacco use issues, so he's a big chain smoker. And then Tyrell he's a recovering drug addict. And then Ryan, who is married to Brianna, is very abusive to his wife and children. And then Andrew, who is not married to my cousin anymore, had mental health issues. And then so did Caden, who is my older brother, or my older cousin that I was closest to. This is Caden right there. And so this is my family. I included a lot of pictures because I actually have a lot of pictures of my family. But so that's all of them. These are my older brothers. That's Jens, Kelland, and Britton. And then my mom and my dad. And then Erin, who is Kelland's wife. And so we go hiking a lot. We have a really great positive relationship, and I wanted to include all of those pictures so that way you all could see the positive relationships that we have inside of my family. And so this is my genogram. And so we've got my dad, who has a very, very positive relationship with my grandpa and my grandma and my Aunt Josie, who you can see these double lines, and these double lines are to my grandma, to my grandpa, and to my Aunt Josie. And then my dad is actually really focused on gents. Just because they clash, their personalities are too similar, so they clash. And so you can also see the pattern in my family. We all have mental health issues. We all struggle with anxiety and depression, which is super, super fun. But you can see that Erin and Kelland are very fused. They're a fused relationship because of Lucy, who was a stillbirth that they had a couple years ago. Not a couple years ago, a really long time ago. And they're actually pregnant right now, so yay. But so they're really fused. And then you can see like this double line goes through all of us because we are all really close. Kelland is also really close to Sam, who we'll get to in just a second. And you can see this little triangle right there because I am really close with my parents. I'm very close to my dad and I'm very close to my mom because I'm the youngest. And after Britton moved out, I had 2 years until I moved out, and so I got a lot of time to get close to them. This is the Aaron Brewer family. These are all my cousins. We call them the Brewer boys because they're all boys. This is my cousin John's wife. And so this is Sam. Sam has a really good relationship with Kelland, but Aaron is very hostile directed towards Sam. And he's very isolated from the family, and it's been kind of weird. But he just got married to Sam as well, so he's married to Sam Brewer, which is kind of awesome. And then you can see here that Ben, John, and Shane are all really close together. They're close, and Sam is kind of isolated, and you can see that here. And then the J. Latham Koisman family. This is my cousin David and my cousin Elizabeth. And this line actually from Elizabeth goes down to me because we have a good positive relationship because we were the only two girls in our family that were close, that we lived next to each other. David has a lot of mental health issues, which is interesting, which is nice and fun. And then Travis is really a big tobacco user. And then Cody is also a big tobacco user. And so you can see this line right here, this jagged line, that's a hostile relationship, and it goes to my Aunt Tracy. Those two cause the most problems in our family, and that's why we don't ever get together, is because they hate each other. They hate each other, and it's very awkward. This little line is directed, and that goes from my grandpa, my great grandpa, to Jay, because he was really focused on my Aunt Jay growing up. And that was the same for my Uncle Aaron, which you can see in this little line. And that's because like on my Aunt Tracy's birthday, he would bring my Aunt Jay presents, which would cause even more tension and pressure and hostility in that relationship. Um, and then and then and then we have my Aunt Josie's family, who is it's a very interesting family, but we are close. This is me and her. Um, And so she is very close with my aunt, with my grandma, and with my dad. And you can see that they're all fused together. So my Uncle Rick, my Aunt Josie, Max, and Katie are all fused together. And that's because my aunt had 7 miscarriages before that Max was born, which has really brought them all close together. And she really took hold of the mother role, and she's really good at it. She's an amazing lady. But so then these little lines coming from Max and Katie are to me. So we have a very positive relationship because I was the youngest in my family for so long that it was once they were born, I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's actually kind of close to my age that isn't Britain, you know? So it was really nice to have them there. But I'm just going to go back really quickly to show some of the triangles in the family dynamics and relationships. So from my grandma to my dad and my Aunt Josie, that's the biggest triangle here. Because they are very closely related, or very close, I mean, obviously closely related, but they're very close in relationships. And then I also wanted to show this little line. I missed it when I showed you my Aunt Tracy, but this line right here is my grandpa is very hostile towards towards Tracy, and they don't get along. And it's very obvious, and it makes it very uncomfortable as well. And that's because she doesn't get along with many of them because of her drug abuse issues, which is very tough for all of us because we love her, but it's hard to babysit. um and so yeah, so that's all of those. And then I just wanted to show you that my family's really close, and so is my Aunt Josie's, and we're also really close together as families. So that's really nice. But yeah, thank you. Much appreciated.